is going to be banned away as the Tigers get rid of that. And the Zac is going to be the answering ban on the side of Afreeca Freecs. And I like this. Forcing Afreeca Freecs to ban the meta power picks is probably a good idea because their second game draft, as far as first round of bans, was not necessarily ideal.
Feels like on the blue side, the Tigers have been trying to set up a mismatch. Game 1, it was all about banning supports and first picking Rakan. Now we're seeing them actually return to the more standard OP list, but on the blue side, suggesting they have a role they want to come out ahead on. Right now, it looks like the Rek'Sai will be the premium jungler, but the Gragas was the selection in the previous game.
Yeah, you'd have to feel that Afreeca Freecs are probably going to ban away the Kalista as the final ban, so the Rox Tigers could probably look to try and shore themselves up with a first pick option. Rakan was, of course, their first pick in game number 1. That didn't necessarily work out, and that's actually going to be the ban here. So Key doesn't even want to jump back to it.
Yeah, big smile on the face of Songyun. It's a pretty difficult choice here from the Afreeca Freecs. They will just ban out Kalista like they did in game 1. But the Rakan ban suggests to me that Rox Tigers have something a bit creative in Manson, maybe just reaching for the Xayah that we've seen Kramer denied in the previous game. They seem pretty happy with that.
Yeah, and Key now probably wants to jump on either the Braum or the Thresh. Couple of options there, and certainly can do both. As the Braum is going to be picked up once again by Tucson. Had some decent Glacial Fissures. And Spirit, considering that Gragas to take it away from Songwon, definitely looked more comfortable on that than the Rek'Sai in game 1, so it makes some sense.
And they are a true Gragas flex pick team. In fact, it's been top lane Gragas even more commonly than jungle Gragas from the side of the Afreeca Freecs. They are 6-2, Marin on the Gragas, so he's happy to run it in the top lane.
Frightened me for a second, thought that we were going to see that Leona. Could have been an option.
Songwon's the only jungler in Korea that has played Nidalee so far in the summer season. But most likely will just be the Rek'Sai. Afreeca's standard thing was on the red side to just draft 2 junglers and deny the Gragas jungle over, so I feel like they would have taken the Rek'Sai if available.
But it is going to be locked in now for Songwon, so Afreeca probably not going to flex that one up too much, as Lava going to hop back onto a tried and true potentially as he was hovering the Orianna.
Would be his most played so far if he's to play that. He's played 2 games of Corki and now will be his 3rd game of Orianna.
Interesting that they decide to pick that one up instead of locking away something like the Thresh and leaving that mid lane pick open. Of course, haven't seen the Orianna ban so far today, actually. It's just been overlooked throughout the entire draft.
Yeah, the theory behind that is that you want to deal with other lanes, and Orianna's basically fine in every lane, so they don't want to have necessarily a targeted matchup against the mid. They're just happy to start banning other roles and deal with the Ori.
Yeah, don't really want to give it away, okay. Well, now it's banning time as Crow is going to be able to lock away the Varus here for Kramer. So a different option will slightly outrange the Xayah this time.
Let's start banning the supports that Key has found success on. The Thresh is an obvious one that he's played a lot. Could even ban the Blitzcrank that would look pretty good against the Varus, but I guess with Braum and Gragas, maybe you're willing to leave Blitzcrank open.
Put Hook City in jail, something like that. Rox Tigers with an opportunity to take away from probably the mid lane as the Talia is going to be banned, and that makes some sense.
Lee Sin could just be the jungle choice for Spirit if it is to be the top lane Gragas.
Yeah.
So the only lane really worth looking at, I guess, is mid.
I mean, Renekton's still available. A lot of picks for Marin up towards the top side of the map, and they might even give him counter pick as well, as it is still shy, and we'll see whether he does go for a blind Gnar potentially, try and get some redemption. Wasn't exactly his best Gnar performance.
It definitely goes down in the history books for the victory, but was a rough game. At least in the 1v1 from Shy. Also, the team fights were pretty abysmal. No big Mega Gnar plays. Second ban here is kind of up in the air for the Tigers. Can go multiple different ways with it. My first thought was something like a Cassio, but maybe that's unnecessary and they just leave open the idea that maybe it will be Vex pick to the jungle and just ban away the Rumble from Marin.
Yeah, makes some sense. Still, Rox Tigers wanting to definitely flex up their bans in the second round a whole lot of these times, as Crow thinking about taking away the Corki and will do so very effectively. Now Jarvan makes some sense here as well for the Rox Tigers, given the decent ball delivery system that a Jarvan would provide on top of that with the Rek'Sai as well.
But are they basically forced into drafting Renekton because of the scenario there, and they need to blind pick top lane because it could just be the Gragas or it could be something else, and then maybe we'll see the famous Gnar coming through. If you take Jarvan, he just loses pretty hard to Renekton.
Oh, wow. There it is.
Shai's just going to turn back the clock, go for the Jax, one of his biggest picks of all time. A long time since we've seen it. 17-8 career, his highest win rate champion. It's the Season 2 special. It's Shai on the Jax.
Wow, and we were just having this discussion, Pop Smithy. You aired towards it before we went live. You're like, is he going to play the Jax? We thought maybe not, but there it is. Going to be locked away, and Key going towards his comfort pick as well. Potentially on this Bard, and it is going to be locked in. So a little bit of extra laning pressure on the bottom side of the map.
What does this mean for the top side? Polite clap from the crowd. They're excited to see the Jax. You could see Spirit just jump on the Gragas and a lane counter pick. Could go for the Renekton into Jax, although we saw that matchup, despite being favorable, lose out yesterday. And Marin decides they just want hard engage. They don't want to deal with a late game Jax. They want to get it done in the mid game. Early to mid game was the identity in game 2. That didn't work for the Afreeca Freecs. As this matchup evolves, we know that Jax will be happy. But Afreeca Freecs, they got a lot of reliable initiation early. They want to get it done in the mid game.
And we saw game 1, the Bash brothers on the top side of the map, Marin and Spirit certainly working together very, very well. And now with Jarvan and Gragas, a gank combination able to work very, very well. Not necessarily quite as quintessential as the likes of Elise and Renekton, but still similar vein. See how it is going to go down, because it looks like a more solid draft out of the Afreeca Freecs in Game 3 as opposed to Game 2. But Rocks still have a clear identity of what they want to get done this time.
And the cool thing about Jax in a comp like this is that, let's say the top lane doesn't go as planned. Let's say he's slowed down in terms of items. You can still be a ball carrier for the Orianna and have an AoE stun of your own. It's not the ideal way to use Jax, but having a backup plan for your comp, something that Afreeca Freecs couldn't find in Game 2, is a nice thing from the Rocks Tigers, because Afreeca, they could just spend this game setting up a huge tent around top lane and trying to hold the Jax back.
Yeah, and Key's Bard also able to throw a bit of a wrench into that plan as well, given the fact that Tempered Fate can be so pivotal to try and eliminate some of the key members from these fights and really make it the Jax bashing house as well, you know, because this guy does like to have less players in a team fight.
Yeah, holding down a Jax is definitely a very real strategy. It seems like once again we're going to be halted for a couple of moments before we can launch it into game. Key's Bard is one of those trademark picks for him, 1-on-1 this season. Always been a big one for him, and I hope to see some big highlights.
Yeah, we'll see how he's going to go, picking that one up once again, but these drafts have been super interesting, and can Afreeca turn things around now in game number 3? We'll have to find out, assuming we're going to be getting straight onto Summoner's Rift.
We might be taking a slight detour, Atlas. The Korean cast is deep in thought, so I guess we're still having a couple of issues. Seems like the tourney realm was a bit unreliable yesterday, so I imagine it's spilling over into our match day today. It means that instead of getting that quick snap in, got a bit more time to think about it.
Yeah, and do you like how I did like a semi-throw? It's like they could have gone, or they could have not, you know? I was trying to stay flexible. Probably just sounded stupid.
I wish SKT and Samsung did a semi-throw. Instead they did a massive throw. Feels bad, man.
Oh, the salt's still there. It's okay, just be happy for the LPL. Go back in time, Papa Smithy. Hop back to 2015
I'm happy for them. It's just SKT and Samsung were both pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't exactly the performance that you were wanting. We'll be able to find some redemption tomorrow. Of course, our key matchup going to be Samsung versus SKT. Both of the teams trying to find out who's going to bounce back more effectively.
Only one team can have a redemption story, I guess, in that series. You know, one team, both teams coming off that humbling loss, and only one of them can actually win a best of 3 that SKT will be desperate to, and they do not want to lose twice to Samsung in one season.
And does SKT bring Huni and Peanut to that series as well? Or is it just their winning combination? That is the question. But we've got a game about to come up. A game number 3 in this best of 3 series, and let's get into it now. Okay, let's do it. Game number 3, Papa Smithy. Afreeca Freecs with a little bit more of a standard composition this time around. The scaling towards that late game certainly more prevalent. And Spirit on the Hillbilly Gragas, waiting to get things done. And we'll see how Shai goes on the Jax. This could be the be-all and end-all moment for the Rocks Tigers to try and make it a 4-match win streak.
You just can't help but smile, though, Jax.
Oh, yeah.
One of those signatures for Shy, right up there with the top lane Rise, right up there with the Singed. You just think back to simpler times, Season 2 champions before, you know, NALCS was even a thing.
Yeah.
That was when Shy's Jax was one of the most fearsome picks, and also into Season 3 as a PDD fan, from what I could see.
Wow, that is
I'm sure that
real deep.
I'm sure that was a dig at the Korean teams as well, you'd think as well.
Ah, yes.
No skin from Shy either. Going full OG on his Jax.
Yeah, just likes to smack people with a lamppost, you know? Doesn't want to opt into for one of those funny weapons. I like it.
Some of the new skins, he kind of has a real weapon, which I don't understand.
I know. Like, he actually has a poleaxe in one of them. Like, and then he still has the quote, what if I had a real weapon? Well, Jax, you do, buddy. Okay? Stop being silly. Okay, good vision actually being gained by the Rocks Tigers as Tucson going to take a solo mission around. Going to find the stun quite there is key. So not going to be cosmically bound to the wall, but at least frustrated for a moment.
I'm a pretty big fan of seeing Bard into these double AD comps that with Corki's power in the meta are going to become very common. Corki and specifically the Varus are largely going to be raining terror from the back line, so something like a Cosmic Binding. You can just focus down the front line while both of them are either flashing defensively or unable to put out damage.
You also Tempered Fate the front line as well, and then just move forward. Shy can jump onto people, just like that. Do like it. Sort of a clear idea for how the late game fights are going to work for the Rocks Tigers competition.
And also you get the level 1 laning power of Thunderlord's Bard, which has always been there. So if you do have a Bard specialist like Key has been his whole career, it is definitely a good option for you.
Well, Shy actually doing battle up here towards the top side. Marin not used to conceding ground. Still not going to, as Spirit. Gonna jump back and hop into some Krugs. Songyun looking for this level 3 gank. They want to get Shy rolling early. Marin's going to flag it, but gets interrupted. Has to use the flash there as well as Shy. Another counter-strike comes in. Spirit turns up late, and Songyun's going to pick up. Sorry. Songwon is going to pick up first blood on the Rek'Sai. Much better this time as opposed to game number 1, and Shy only going to get worse and worse to deal with.
Yeah, the lane management there from Marin was not fantastic. He had the wave pushed in. His jungler crept in, looked for a gank, realized the lane was too far up, pulled away, and then Marin was just too greedy. He tried to get out with his EQ, could have just flashed away. Instead, interrupted, and from there, first blood in a counter matchup that scales well. May not go to the Jax, but the pressure certainly does. Really nice reward here for a great ganking path from Songwon, but looked a bit too easy, from my estimation, on the side of Marin.
Okay, he's actually just going to magically journey his way over to Kuro. Some decent damage, and you mentioned the Thunderlords. That's possibly going to send Kuro home. As the counter strikes there, Spirit waits for it. There's the flash body slam, all too easy, and the flash unnecessary from Shy. Freecs answer back immediately.
Yeah, and answering back is so important given that they need to have early items onto the Jarvan and play around the mid game. That could not be a lane that snowballed away from the Freecs, so the timing there is perfect. Shy is able to use his teleport. Didn't use it the first time. Was able to enter lane, so the end result is actually parity between the two. That'll suit a Freecs. They couldn't allow the lane to get any worse than it already was.
Yeah, thankfully for Marin, I mean, First Blood went over to Songwon as well, so he'll be able to transition that lead into other lanes, but this in isolation, after Marin does get his back in there, should actually be in parity as Spirit.
Lava.
Yeah, just continuing the aggression here. Kuro going so ham as this melee Corki, and another big body slam flash forced out of Kuro as Lava knows that he's dead. The red buff is still ticking down, and look at the fat man. This is so aggressive as he bonks him in the back of the head with a barrel. Nicely played by Spirit.
Yeah, consistent problem for Lava. You'll need to go back and watch the VODs of his first debut and also this series. His lane control has let him down multiple times, and you just look at that gank, and it's the perfect time for a jungler to come in because he just hasn't been actually respecting the potential paths available or the side the jungler is on.
Whoa, Shy. Marin down to 200 health. Yes, you're right about Lava, but now it's Shy's turn to overextend potentially on the top side of the map as Kuro's coming up. Spirit joining him as well. Yeah, grand adventure to see the Grandmaster at arms. I like it. Gets a fadeaway ward as he knows that Spirit's here, but doesn't know that Kuro's hanging around as well. All right, Counter-Strike comes in, and Shy is able to escape. Just leaps over to one of these creeps, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, the minion wave coming in at the right time. Didn't have a ward to ward jump, so it's a perfect time through us. Wait, if I think about it, was ward jump removed? It might have been, actually.
What do you mean?
I forget if you can ward jump on Jax anymore.
Pretty sure you can.
May have been.
But I don't know. I remember, yeah, there was something like that. Yeah, it gets to a creep. He'll be fine for the moment. We'll have to do some digging on that one, though.
Katarina famously had that removed ages ago.
Yep.
Regardless, we'll hold off that point. At least Lava can just clear and leave lane now and not have it in an awkward spot.
Yeah, I just wanted that. Back to come in, gets himself his Ninja Tabi. We'll be happy, but still behind 7 CS. It's about a wave. Spirit's going to be heading back home. 1-0-1 on the Gragas and has the Moby boots. He knows that he needs to get around this map and get work done. Tucson down quite low here in this lane, but Kramer happily farming things up. Going to be about even as there's a hula hoop. That's going to be the flash knock-up though onto Kuro, so still taking some damage. However, even the command attack not finding the mark.
6 here.
Yeah, once again on the top side. Look at that. The Empower plus the Empowered Auto Attack is just going to do a bunch of work. And these trades are not going to get better for Marin.
The Jax boss, people have been talking about why Jax back in the meta, and the general thought is that everything around the top lane has kind of been nerfed, including the tank itemization. A lot of the tank top laners and the small buffs to Jax have overall meant has been able to creep back into the meta and be relevant. Yeah, seen a lot of good Jax and a lot of bad Jax recently. It's definitely oscillated between one or the other. There's kind of great extremes about Jax play.
Yeah, and there's like good Jaxes and then there's good Jaxes that don't know how to play it in certain team compositions as well. It's sort of been a difficult one, a bit of an enigma for a lot of these top laners to work out. Most people can duel on him. It's just knowing when to be splitting, when to be trying to move over with your team, things like that. And it's getting the correct vision to make that work. It's been difficult. Speaking of vision, you see the Rocks Tigers with a lot of forward vision available. Tucson's going to turn up and actually try and bully Songwan out of his jungle.
Tabi rush from both the top laners, both of them pretty respectful. Because Jax has to deal with a minion wave, they probably just have to give up the blue.
Yeah, Spirit's going to be able to lock that one down. Of course, still available on the bottom side as there's a Infernal Drake also there, able to be taken down.
It's been so much top side priority that no one has really been able to put down the vision to get that. It's Lava again.
Yeah, doesn't have Flash available as well. He's going to be able to take a magical journey, but there's a Cataclysm and Marin once more. Key now forced to run away, uses the exhaust, which is a big cooldown already. But Marin still wants this fight. Good Cosmic Binding stops him, but oh, Spirit, that was stunning. The knockback's there, and Key, he can't juke that one as Marin grabs himself his second kill. Afreeca Freecs all over the early game, and this is looking much better. 600 gold's the only lead, but still, it's looking good.
And just the Afreeca freight train, they started at the enemy blue when Jax had everything going for him. And then from there, Marin just roamed with the team. They kill mid lane, they kill the enemy support, they get wards in the enemy jungle. The amount of neutrals and also kills they were able to pick up in one passage of play, while Shy slowly pushed a minion wave into the top turret, was actually huge. It's one of the reasons they have 1,000 gold lead at this point.
And now Shy's just dirty farming here out the back. Does have the Counter-Strike to make that one easier. He knows with this level lead, with the fact that he's hit that level 6, has the Grandmaster's Might if he wants it as well. If Marin's going to go for anything, a couple of longswords aren't going to scare you out of the way of that fight.
But as a 14 CS lead for the Jax start to scare you, because it's a matchup that only gets better and better for the Jax. Sure, Marin was able to make things happen on the rest of the map, but we already saw Afreeca Freecs halted in their early game comp in Game 2. Need to keep making plays around the map. The next teleport for Marin's not going to be another 4 minutes or so, and we'll be disconnected from Shy. So the map plays are what's going to separate Afreeca and Rox, because if we just get unlimited time, hard to see Rox not winning both team fights and certainly the split push war.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it comes down to what Kuro's going to do once he hits that Trinity Force, because I feel like it's up to him to bridge this mid-game that Spirit has sort of handed to him with his early game pressure. So he's invested into it as well. I mean, the Moby boots, he's got a Dark Seal now, wanting to try and get this snowball happening. So that pressure, like you were mentioning, does need to continue.
Yeah, Moby Boots Gragas is a new one.
Yeah.
Very frequently see Merc treads or
more
standard
boots. The fact just doesn't
boots.
often put on the runners, you know? It's just not his thing.
Has so much mobility with the body slam over walls that extra movement speed's been Comes across as almost unnecessary, but he seems to follow what we've been talking about.
Speaking of following what we've been talking about, both of the junglers now going to be picking up Cinderhulk. So first Cinderhulk Gragas seen so far on this patch.
Rek'Sai as well. It's just so cheap to pick up Barmy Cinder and does more damage for clear that even the Tiamat Rek'Sai is probably going to be halted. Could still be an option, second or third item, but early rush on Cinderhulk and the item being 200 gold cheaper in accordance with the Barmy Cinder is just even more powerful than it was before.
Well, both AD carries with their BF swords picked up. Cheeky longsword for Sang-Yoon. It's now Spirit hanging around this dragon. He's inside the pit. We'll see whether he's actually going to try and pick this one up, because he does have his Cinderhulk already done. Songwan does as well, as he's been farming things out nicely. But Lava's back in base, so they did have an opportunity. Just not going to quite jump in on it yet.
General war priority is there for the Rox Tigers on the Infernal Drake, because they have the control ward on the enemy blue, so more advanced warning of some of the routes that Afreeca can take to contest it. No teleport on Marin as well. Feels like starting the Drake is the right move, although here's Spirit.
Yep, Cataclysm comes in, Spirit's looking for it. There's the flash body slam. That was interestingly placed, as the flash is a good timing. They're looking for the follow-up now as Grandmaster's Might's there for Shy. Does wear off, and now the teleport comes in. Kuro's looking to try and add on to this fight, but can they keep someone actually slowed down? I don't think so, and Lava's going to make his way up towards the top side. Kuro immediately actually turns on the aggression with the Gatling gun, but Freecs won't be deterred from this.
To me, this is a poor read, though. Rox could have taken a free Drake and Shy got out, which is his fastest interrupt.
Yeah, and Marin actually now looking to try and make his way out, but that's going to be the kill. They can't even get the follow-up. The Songwan's going to eat up that Fury. Pick up that kill is now Kramer towards the bottom side. They're looking for Toos, and Featherstorm's great, but it slows him down. And now Kramer has the ultimate. Just got enough mana for that one. Not going to find as much towards the bottom side, but nice work from the Tigers to try and get something back on the back end. There's
He's alone.
Yeah, he's also going to get stunned and most likely murdered. There's, okay, over-aggression on the bottom side.
That was bizarre. Not really sure what he saw there. I don't know if that was Sang-Yoon just not coming with him, but kind of journey to death.
Yeah. Brain fade could be a word used.
Rox,
you're right.
Rox could have taken the Drake earlier. They'll just go on to it now. No teleport from Marin still. Shy can be there, but doesn't want to teleport over. Happy to just re-enter lane. Hanging back just in case, but there should be Infernal Drake over to Rox. Was kind of unsure why Marin died in the top side. Spirit and Kuro both were on pretty healthy values, but were respecting the 3 there from the Rox Tigers and just gave up on the scenario.
Yeah. So this is going to be the replay of what happened on the bottom side. Tempered Fate means that Susan goes down low, but Flashes gets himself out. And Key's like, I can do this.
I mean, the only reason for Key to go on a solo mission like this, even with both summoners up, is if that exhaust is Ignite. But he doesn't have Ignite. He has exhaust, so he just walks up. And what exactly was supposed to happen here?
I guess Unbreakable was supposed to be down. I don't know.
The one thing you could say is maybe the control ward stopped the teleport play coming through, but I really think that was just a great disconnect between the players.
Okay, Kramer's gone for the Essence Reaver build on the Varus. So we're just going to try and scale up with the Xayah, but on a Varus instead. Papa Smithy, how do you feel about it?
Utility Varus is the reason you go Essence Reavers for more access to the Chains of Corruption mostly. I think he's already kind of admitted that he's not going to be able to go an auto-attack build because you see Jax and you realize that can just ruin your day. So it's more about being guaranteed that he can do things in fights and not min-maxing and then just getting burst down by the Jax. So my impression there is just utility, looking for picks, Orianna. Even the Bard is a pick target. When you have 4 good targets for the ultimate, it's fine to go the build, but it is a movement away from the norm from Kramer.
Now Freecs looking for another steal on this blue buff, and they'll be able to get it as well. Rek'Sai nowhere to be seen. Blue's warded by the Rox Tigers on the other side of the map, so they might be able to actually just trade these. Shy will need to be careful. Many people towards that top side.
Pressure's not really on Rox Tigers. They're ahead in terms of Drakes. They're behind 600 gold, but given their scaling, that's fine, certainly, given where they can get later in the game. And Jax is winning in CS against a Jarvan, so they're happy to just keep playing a standard game. We could get access to Trinity Force soon, they get access to options soon, but for now, I mean, everything's looking just fine from the side of the Rocks Tigers.
Yeah, Shy's going to have his Trinity Force, but Myron should have that Tiamat and the Black Cleaver done relatively soon, but Shy ahead. A fair bit of CS, affecting those stats that Myron has held on to for a lot of this season.
Been on quite a few shopping trips recently, doesn't have vision around the top side, so just trying to be respectful in general. They don't have any of the enemy camps warded. The only really advanced ward they have is of the entrance next to the mid on the blue side for the Afreeca Freecs. So, in general, don't have a lot of information, so Jack's just using to buy a dagger, get full health, come back to base, come back to the top lane.
Through with the package, just looks for the auto attack, but doesn't find Songwon. Sangyun throws out the Feather Storm, but now he should get stunned. The exhaust comes in, late exhaust, and the auto attack cancel actually. Out of Kramer, unfortunately, doesn't get the stun onto Sangyun. That's going to take 3 Summoner spells to get out of that.
The ult being down allows both Kramer and Tucson to walk up a lot more frequently. Speaking of walking up.
Oh yeah, he's just going to try and stop Key from getting into the magical journey as they follow it through. They're looking for it. One auto is all they need, but Key doesn't fall down. Winter's Bite gets it, and he flashes to safety. So much respect for Sangyun, but they get the pick. Grandmaster's Might comes in. Shy's looking to try and get some damage onto Myron, and they're looking for first brick here as well. Lava turns up. There's the flash. Gets over the top, and Kramer turns that one around. Was looking good. Dissonance comes in, and now Songwon's here. They're looking to try and turn this. Still 3 versus 3 as Kramer, being a bit of a hero, gets himself the heal, and Lava turns that one around, but it was very, very close from Kramer. Now Shy teleports in, doesn't get anyone as the Cataclysm now for Myron. And look at the AoE damage. The ult comes out from Songwon, and he gets out. Okay, everyone's flashing health bars. They get Kramer. They get able to get themselves out. Can Afreeca get the first blood turret? And they do.
The escape there from Songwon was sick. He was able to drop damage and aggro with the Void Rush and then flashed away afterwards. Really clean stuff from him. Sort of mechanic you don't see too often from the Rek'Sai, but that was done expertly, and it gets them out. Just a kill for a turret, so it still goes the way of Afreeca Freecs, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, certainly could have. Afreeca Freecs hold on to that gold lead, but you've mentioned time and time again that Rocks Tigers are more than happy just to let this game stay. It's something about 2,000 gold or something in the lead for Afreeca. I'll just play it out, get Shy his items, and he's already got one of them. Trinity Force is done. First item spike is here. Lava looking for the 2-item spiking build for the Orianna. Luden's Echo coming in second. Will mean that the flat damage plus the cooldown reduction from Morellonomicon is going to be very helpful.
And the theory now is they have a ticking time bomb in the Jax who's already online. Hitting the Trinity Force and Ninja Tabi pre-20 minutes is a success already. From the Jax gotten out of lane very happily. And now you can have more and more scenarios like this where the trades will only go one way.
Okay, yeah. Myron has to get his way out. There's Gold Kuro down there as well, so remember there's no turret, so Shy possibly in trouble. There's no package for Kuro, but he gets over with the Valkyrie. There's a leap strike. Is going to head onto a tunnel, but now it's on cooldown, and Shy with no flash will just die. Myron picks up that kill, and it's nicely done.
What's on the rest of the Rocks Tigers, though, with 2 members bot lane, no teleports up. There is a lot of open map for Rocks to get objectives. Songwon spotting people, but Sangyun's on the back foot. Till now.
Yeah, in goes Sangyun. Throws out the jump in. He's going to get a lot of damage in there. Featherstorm comes down. They get the root. So Tucson, he's very healthy at the beginning, but he's taking so much abuse. And now they're looking for the dive onto Kramer. 4 members underneath the turret. And Lava's going to be the one that picks up that kill. Nicely done by Rocks to capitalize. And now Afreeca Freecs looking to try and challenge with 2 turrets of their own.
It's really interesting stuff. They get 2 kills for 1 overall as the trade after Afreeca had sent 2 members bot lane in order to shut down the Jax. But right now, looking for 2 turrets. They'll give up the mid lane, but they will get the bot lane inner turrets. There still is going to be a turret advantage when it comes to priority, with the inner bot lane turret meaning that the next Drakes are going to be that much harder for the Rocks Tigers to claim, with the extra vision being pushed into bot side.
Yeah, and that's permanent damage onto the outer turret in the mid lane as well. Arguably the most important one. It's only going to take 1 more push of minions to try and get themselves in there as Spirit. He's down towards the bottom side. They do not want to let Shy free farm at all this game.
They're feeling like that the answering play that usually happens post 20 minutes, which is the Baron aggro, is too early for that, so they can continue to try and be the Bruise brothers together, shut down the Jax, and then, okay, that playstyle won't work at 28 minutes when Rox Tigers can just take down a Baron pretty swiftly. But for now, it gets pressure on the Jax pulls back, they take the Drake. That was easy enough after getting the inner turret bot lane. Afreeca making the right moves around the map, but they're kind of emergency moves with how big the Jax is already.
And now Kuro is actually going aggressive onto Sangyun, but see Sangyun does decent damage at this point in the game with his rapid fire cannon done, as well as the Essence Reaver. Equalized on the other side of the map with Kramer picking up his static Shiv. Doesn't quite have as many complementary items though. I believe he sold his Doran shield that he started the game with.
Game is close to a breaking point. If Afreeca make any significant mistakes in the next 5 minutes, the Jax should be able to carry Rox Tigers to victory, and hell, there's still an Orianna piling on items in the mid lane as well. For now, Afreeca, the spikes are good. Where they are at in terms of damage at this present moment is strong. For now, the vision is pretty equal, and that means that largely, Rox Tigers is trading farm with a team that outscales them.
Yeah. Now you can see Marin's looking to try and move up, get some sort of team fight play in there. Lava very close to finishing his Luden's Echo. Jarvan's just waiting off to the side. Tucson and Kramer ready to strike. As I swear that Winter's Bite just went through Songwan.
It looked like it, didn't it?
Yeah, that still hits him when he's burrowed like that. Generally, his Spirit is going to face check him. Tunnels his way out, and that is going to be the Control Ward dying. Turret, an opportunity, but Sangyun, good wave clear. He'll be able to get out of the way of that one.
Looking towards the Infinity Edge to cap off the item.
Right, no stun onto Spirit, who just hillbillily takes down those wards.
You just said hillbillily.
I did.
How would you describe the adjective hillbillily?
Where you do something like a hillbilly. It's not difficult.
How does a hillbilly take down an objective?
Probably just wearing a hillbilly outfit.
I see. Yeah. It's a dress-up comment then.
Yeah.
It's cosplay.
Yeah, yeah. Or a skin, depending on, you know. We're in League of Legends, so I feel like that works as far as the vernacular. Shy not going to get knocked up. Looking to try and turn this one around as Marin just opts in, and he's going for this 1v1. Knows that he's got the whole rest of the team moving on down, and package is going to be delivered. Kuro with a lot of damage, but there's another leap strike, but another Valkyrie's there to answer. And they do not want to give him anything. Oh, mid-leap, and Kuro gets the flash auto.
Yeah, we get the confirmation the ward jump is still there, but the ward jump wasn't going to save him. Smartly Shy doesn't use his flash. Maybe able to use that to be a ball carrier in the later parts of the game. They keep turning onto Shy, with Rox not getting anything across the map, and if anything, they might actually get caught here.
Yeah, they're actually looking for this one as Winter's Bite's going to connect this time. Good Tempered Fate gets the Rek'Sai to safety. Although Baron's upset, at least the Rox Tigers are going to be able to make their way out. All right, 14 seconds on Shy, has his teleport, so it's not going to be any Baron shenanigans, but this outer turret will fall down. Marin had a very good flank there as well if they wanted to go aggressive.
We'll just channel the recall, like you say. Items on Shy are getting less and less relevant. They really need to start Rox Tigers assisting Shy in his moves, whether that's continuing to contest vision around the Baron and actually being in a position to start it when multiple members, in this case, what, 5 members rotate bot. Something to relieve pressure, not allow free kills against the Jax would be what Rox Tigers are looking to do. At some point, it doesn't matter how strong your Jax is if you can't make anything happen when you have the entire top side of the map to work around.
And with Marin picking up so much armor and the Dead Man's Plate now on Spirit as well, Sangyun's felt like he needs to go for the last Whisper when it's a BF sword from Kramer, so he'll hit that 3-item spike with the Infinity Edge, the Essence Reaver, and the Static Shiv, an item before Sangyun's going to be able to, so it is important. Spirit going to face check 3 members of the Rox Tigers as there's the flash being used. Good respect for Lava. Possibly could have just taken down the Gragas with the Shockwave.
When you have a control ward sticking onto the Baron, that's the sort of pressure that forces Spirit and the rest of Afreeca to walk up. Kind of the minimum standard for the options that Rox Tigers have. 2 control wards in the area, but exclusive vision around Baron is the only way to stop there being repeat gank spot lane, although maybe finally we'll see an assist. Marin spots out the red buff spawning.
Yeah, Shy in this rush is going to safely help Sangyun pick up that red.
Now this is smart because they're doing it as the minion wave is crashing onto the inner turret, so an option to get a couple of autos in. They're respecting the potential flanks in Marin,
Yeah, he's going to flag and drag his way out. Now the pincer move comes in from Rox. They're looking for that perfect shockwave that Lava can now line up. Finds it onto 3, actually. Lots of damage, but good redemption. Gets a lot of the health back. Doesn't stop Sungyun from grabbing Tucson in this fight, though. He's going to fall down, and Lava's going to follow up with a kill on Mara. Now they're streaming through as Kuro and Spirit are so low. Shy just going to back his way out. The team fighting Jack's working out this time.
And he wants to teleport in and start the Baron. They've already pinged onto it. There's the teleport onto it from Shy.
Beautiful passage of play for the Rox Tigers. They're down 3,000 gold, but you couldn't tell. Skuro's going to jump his way in. No counter-striking. Okay, Shy has to be a little bit careful here. Spirit looking for it. Kramer's going to be able to take down Tucson, and look, he's just going straight through the front door. Spirit wants to be able to get in there, and Spirit doesn't manage to pick up the Baron, and he's going to lose his life for it as well. Kramer, so much damage as Sungyun. Oh, the rip-up! It's going to burn him down. Double kill now for the Xayah. And this is looking like MVP performance number 2, potentially, Papa Smithy.
All lined up for Lava in that particular fight. The teleport into the middle of the battle by Kuro just meant that the shockwave easily chunked out 3 members of the Afreeca Freecs. Really nice stuff from Lava on his 3rd performance on the Orianna. Then the assertive call by Shy, you'd have to imagine, teleporting onto the Baron. They forced it, could have gone either way. The secure was there eventually. Shy, definitely bold, trying to buy time, but they just realized that we have to burn it down. Baron damage, the large reason that the Bard goes down. You see the Baron fall low. There certainly could have been a steal. He had vision here, Spirit. But the only smite came through from Songwan. The only claim comes through from the Rek'Sai. And they managed to clean up Kramer as well.
Oh yeah, just the red buff. Calculated there by Sungyun. The Prey Seeker would have secured his life there as well. No flash on the Varus. Just in a barrel, ready to be taken down. That is going to be Molten Reminder completed by Sungyun, now building towards his Infinity Edge. The Xayah it already feels like he's out of control. It's getting worse and worse. Kramer has a cheeky Zeal in his back pocket as well as Chains of Corruption go wide.
Not even necessary for the redemption, but just done as a precaution. With Baron buff, they should easily break this outer ring of turrets. They're grouping with the Jacks. You don't often see that, but it does mean they delete turrets in just a half second.
And now Kuro going for the flank around the side. The fortification a little bit too much. They have to wait for the minion wave, but they will have that. Marin's shoved this wave forward on the top side of the map. Should reset. Kuro's just looking to try and grab the second Ocean Drake. It's a consolation prize because I don't think they're going to be able to defend this outer turret in the mid lane. And now teleport's actually coming in. So the Afreeca Freecs looking for a battle. Half health onto Key and Shy.
The battle is so specific for Afreeca. If they bite off more than they can chew, they might just lose the game. That's why you saw the very quick cancel when it came to actually making something happen. They are still dealing with a Baroned up Rox Tigers. Ocean Drake. Rox are in no position to fight over, so not going to be too worried about that. They'll just push through mid.
Going to be traded for this tower, though. Good knock-up onto Tucson, who takes a lot of damage. Glacial Fissure comes in. Afreeca Freecs, yeah, they're looking for the flanking play. Marin is going to be in there as Shy sets up the counter-strike, but good split from Spirit as he leap strikes his way in. Going to get knocked up as Shy may have gone too far forward. Good Winter's Bite. And that's going to be Tucson lining up the Jacks and taking him down. Key is so incredibly low as there's the Cataclysm straight into the knockup of Sungyun. Very healthy. Explosive cast comes in. Void Rush just means that Songwan is going to be able to buy some time. Kuro grabs that kill, but this is a big waste of the time with the Baron, and Afreeca Freecs now get the push.
Yeah, they really played around Jack super well, disengaging, meaning there was no way for the counter-strike to be relevant. And Shy, for some reason, just leap stroke in and was taken down pretty easily. Rox will be able to clear. They still actually have Baron buff comically for a couple of half seconds, means they do some wave clear in the mid lane, but it wastes one of their Baron buff power plays. And Afreeca do now actually have the ability, with 2 members down of Rox, to walk in areas where they don't have complete vision and try to take down objectives.
Yeah, the Baron just wears out, but taking it off Shy, and he didn't utilize it as a split pusher to try and push down one of these other lanes. You mentioned that there was just the run it up mid strategy. We saw was the bane of Eberate yesterday. Necessarily a great thing, and I know it's a very different circumstance, Papa Smithy, but it worries me when you see it.
I mean, Jax, the one thing you can say is he has obviously not the best scoreline, 0-4-3, but the fact that he's hit his items and his CS is equal with a Jarvan means he's still able to play the game of split push. He's still able to play a pressure game, kind of like MMD on Fiora for the Flash Wolves in the course of Rift Rivals. there's still an attraction to pick a Jax, having be able to push and also draw multiple members. And then you have a Rek'Sai, a Xayah scaling, and Orianna scaling. Everyone's scaling on the side of Rox, but the Jax being ahead meant that the other two could scale in peace.
Yeah.
And that has really allowed Rox to have both a strong split pusher and a strong 4v4. Potentially 5v5 as well if Jax ever groups. And that means they just have so many different options, and the Rek'Sai in a comp like this is really about an early gank and then just relieving pressure with the Tremor Sense.
Yeah, and the 4 deaths on Shy as well are examples of Freecs needing to take him down. They expended a lot of resources killing the Jax multiple times. Kuro, the flash on the bottom side, but that was with 3 members down there, which bought space, bought Sungyun some extra items. Now has... Thankfully, his Berserker's Greaves completed. He was sitting on brown bags for a very long time. Still behind by quite a few CS, but doesn't seem to matter too much as Kramer decided to go for the double Zeal items before completing his Infinity Edge.
No Infinity Edge is on the Rift at 32 minutes with Corki, Varus, and Xayah. Is always surprising.
Yeah, quite interesting.
Will be coming in soon, and then the front lines will start to shudder.
Okay, rockets flying through from Kuro, but you mentioned doesn't quite have that Infinity Edge yet. So when he hits that 3rd item spike, it's going to be the dream.
All members of Afreeca in the face of the Rox Tigers, with Marin's teleport on cooldown, means that Jax can just push up even without vision.
Now Afreeca, they're going to have to make some decisive moves as Shy is making his way towards that inner turret. Sungyun, it just feels like a turret in a tower defense game you've spent way too much money on, you know? You know how you have just that one? It's like they need to just move around him.
So I just split pushes down the inner turret. Marin's not going to engage on him as well.
And they invested a few too many resources to try and take him down, get the inside track towards this mid lane as Kuro not too frightened by the Cosmic Binding. But it's just enough movement speed, and Key throwing down that hot cocoa and help Sungyun move faster.
Lava, Marin.
Yeah, jumps in right on top of him. Lots of damage. Not going to get stunned just yet as Marin just ignores Sungyun's damage. Good exhaust onto Marin to stop him from killing the AD carry, but now Freecs, they're looking for Shy. The top lane is buying as much space as they can. It's a 1-for-0, and Afreeca well and truly on top of it right in time for the Baron, as well as Kramer moves on over. He has decent damage. Good knock-up interrupts Marin from getting in there. And that is the magical journey that gets Rox in position to defend this inner turret.
It was just a magical team fight from Afreeca. Marin won it on his own, assassinating an Orianna and getting out, whereas 4 people peeled for the double AD on the side of Afreeca. Shy wasn't able to take anyone down, and now Afreeca turn on to Baron.
Yeah, Songwan is going to be able to get himself in here. Half health now on this Baron buff as the Rox Tigers looking to try and make something of this fight. Key gets himself over the back, and it is going to be Spirit that locks up the Baron. Songwan is going to fall as well, and I feel like this is just a repeat of exactly what happened, just on different sides of the map for the last Baron.
Insane that Afreeca Freecs, in a game where they had to deal with Jax split push and also the item spikes being hit by Rox Tigers, have Marin assassinate an Orianna while 4 members peel the backline. No one was able to take Marin off of the Orianna. She dies, and now Baron is over to the Afreeca Freecs, and they still have a chance in this game.
Yeah, Marin just has so much armor here. Another Chain Vest built on top of his Gargoyle Stone Plate and his Randuin's Omen. Just felt like Sungyun wasn't doing as much ridiculous damage as he was in the previous game and earlier on in this one as well. That active must have been doing some work. And let's have a look at this fight once again. Lava probably felt a little bit safe, and then... Yeah.
Watch Marin come in. Marin comes in, starts to chunk out Lava. Then as the fight goes on, Marin just goes in. DPS is down the Orianna. Meanwhile, Shy jumps in and they just turn on as 4 members with exhaust onto the Jax. So when it comes to backline occupation, no one can match what Marin was able to do in that fight, and the peel just wasn't there from the Rox Tigers.
Yep, now the Afreeca Freecs, it's their turn to try and shove things up. Sungyun a lot of wave clear, but in goes Kuro, massive! Sort of opposite side L shape coming out from that one. Not going to be able to get any kills, but they secure the inner turret. Rox now moving over. Cosmic Binding snares up Marin, and Dissonance does a little bit of damage to the man with not a whole lot of magic resist. It makes sense. Get Lava out of the fight, and then you're not going to be able to kill the job, and he's got too much armor.
Going to be a lot harder to do an open lane. That was largely due to the poor vision from Rox. Afreeca want to break the base.
Oh, Chains of Corruption are going to stop them from moving around too much. Good redemption, but they lose the turret. There's the Cataclysm right on top of Lava once again. and it's not going to find anyone. The Shockwave, and Kuro is the only one touched. They get rid of the Orianna again. Shy's going to go down. No more solo laners, and Sangyu just can't get in there to get the damage done. Afreeca Freecs, it's like they've just taken the game into their hands and they're looking to try and complete it. It's Kuro teleporting back in. They're going to keep that minion alive. Sangyun getting dove on, but should be okay. Marin pretty healthy, and Kuro just does so much damage. Flash is going to be used, but now they're relegated to the fountain, and Sangyun can't even go toe-to-toe with Kuro. Nexus exposed. Afreeca Freecs turn around that pretty decent Baron play from the Rocks Tigers, and they're going to claim game 3.
It feels like the Afreeca Freecs stole the lunch money of Rocks Tigers. They had so many different ways to win the game, but it echoed that game 1 from Everate, where they didn't set up side push or wards for the Jax to split push, so that didn't happen. They grouped as 5, and Marin found his way onto Lava. In one team fight, they got Baron, a second team fight, and they won the game. The super tank play from Marin outdid all of the smart rotational play on the side of the Rocks Tigers, and Afreeca Freecs come out with all the points.
Certainly do, and it was intelligent play from Marin, I felt, as well, making sure that he got in each team fight, getting himself in the right positions, eliminating Lava, and then there was just nothing that Sangyu could do. It just felt like this time around, he wasn't able to have all the support that he had in game number 2.
But if you think back on the game, Jax had a Trinity Force super early. That should have been something that got Rocks Tigers advantages, but so many times we saw 2, 3, 4, 5 members go bot lane to pick up the Jax. Rocks Tigers got nothing, and then they started to group, and they started to push forward, and then in 2 plays, they lost the game because they were kind of winning the minimum with what should have been an unassailable victory. When you have a Jax that strong, it should warp the game in a way where you're only ever trading up in either the lane Jax is in, getting solo kills, or elsewhere on the map. Instead, Rocks didn't know how to play with a split pusher. Shy, in the end, wasn't able to get anywhere near the same value out of his kit that Marin was, and Marin stacked tank items, went into the backline, killed Lava twice, and his job was done.
Yeah. You can see good chains of corruption as well. Sangyun just didn't have his QSS, and Marin saw the 80 carry, could have gone towards it, but nope. It was Lava that they wanted to get rid of. A Spirit with an explosive cast that does it, and it was only Kuro hit with the Shockwave. He's more than happy to go back to base with the Empowered Recall and teleport back in. Win the game.
With the Bard, they could have done so many different things, but then getting gap closed on team fights, they had headaches they couldn't deal. The Tempered Fate led to very little. The Orianna Shockwave wasn't used in the previous fight, and then was just on the Gragas in the highlight that we watched. They had a lot of resources, the Rocks Tigers, but unfortunately mismanaged them, and Afreeca Freecs come out with the points.
Yeah, and thankfully, I mean, this draft from the Afreeca Freecs, not as early game focused. Kuro looked good, especially that last package play under the inner turret in the mid lane. That was a whole lot of fun, making sure that they could just cascade down there, pick up the easy objective, funnel all of the creeps in, and this is the beauty of the aggression that Afreeca Freecs demonstrate, is that as soon as they have a lead, the game's almost over immediately, because they just crash through, destroy all the structures, and Kuro, yeah, we mentioned he did a bit of damage, and it's demonstrated here on this graph.
Predictably with Corki Varus, you're going to be pumping out plenty of damage. Sangyun had a great game on the Xayah, but it wasn't about the Xayah in the last couple of fights. It was the difference between teamfight Jarvan and teamfight Jackson. Unfortunately, Lava caught out of position twice. The first one was a bit of a bigger factor because it led into the second one where really nothing he could do. Getting dived that deep by both a Gragas and a Jarvan. Your MVP will be Kuro, jumping on the Trinity Force Corki. By the time he got to free hit turrets, the game was there to be won for Afreeca.
Yeah, all too easy, and setting themselves up for some decent battles there as well. And it is going to be Kuro moving to 900 points now, #1 in the MVP rankings. And if you said that about Kuro a couple of years ago, you'd be scratching your head. This guy's been playing some fantastic League of Legends this time around. This one has to go to Spirit, though. His early game power was something to be noted. Look at him fill up this barrel and just bop Lava. That's a terrifying thought. Oh dear.
Hillbilly, as you would say.
Yeah, hillbilly bopped in the brain.
And Lava caught a second time. This is unfortunately one of those consistent trends with Lava in the 2 series we've seen now. He is in a role swap scenario coming into mid lane as a former support main, still learning the ropes, and very clear factor for him to repeat and learn, as this is still a Corki MVP package, right?
I think so. I think so, yeah. But really good plays from Marin.
positioning from Kuro was largely good in this game. Wasn't in position to be turned upon and just free hitting in the back line. Shy using his Counter-Strike early was the big problem in this one.
Yep. Using his face to try and distract Afreeca Freecs also didn't necessarily work out. As once again, I feel like it is a Marin highlight reel.
I voted for Marin as the MVP.
Yeah, so did I. Little awkward. This one was cool.
This was sick. You called it the L, and it certainly was a learner's permit into...
Seen in a mirror. Learner's permit, seen in a mirror.
Maybe it's a learner's permit on how to close the game. Atlas, this time, Afreeca Freecs seem to know what to do.
Yeah.
Get onto lava, take down the Orianna, 2 shockwaves count for nothing, and didn't seem to matter how many items were loaded on Shy. Wasn't enough to win the game for Rox.
And have the Corki, have the Varus, both of them scaling a little bit better into that late game this time around. So we are going to have that MVP interview. So Joel, if you could take it away with some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translations, and we are here with Afreeca Freecs, who will pick up a 2-1 victory against Rox Tigers. And we're here with today's MVPs, Kuro and Tusin, for the interview. Tusin, you got a tough win this time around. How do you feel? A 2-1 victory was a tough one for us, but I think we got a feel for what we need to do in the later games. And Kuro, you're really on top of the board solely with the 900 points MVP points right now. I always thankful. Thank you for all those MVPs. And you guys did have a bit of a break before heading into today's series, but how was that affecting you guys in the preparation? Yeah, we try to be chill with, practicing when we needed to and also taking some breaks when we also needed to. But I feel like that good mindset that we had coming into this series really helped us to win. Your opponents were not easy opponents by any means because they had a 3-series winning streak before they came into this series. Yeah, we weren't really worried about that because we really just wanted to do what we wanted to do and what we really needed to do, and that's what we were worried about. And it seemed like it was something that was predictable, but the bot lane was a big focus during the ban pick phase. But what was the thoughts behind that? Yeah, I think Zaya, something like that, is very high tier right now, and it's something like it's very specific to the players that can play it, and Sangyun is one of them. And one of the surprises that we saw was that you put the Galio to the support role. And it seemed like it was more of a flex pick rather than a prepared strategy that he came up with the support Galio pick. Yeah, I was kind of surprised at first at why they were banning me out so much that I was just kind of looking at my options that I had, and I felt like, Galio freaking flexed it, and even if we did have to play in the support role, I thought it was going to be alright. So with the situation that we had, it was a decision we went with. Yeah, originally it was for me to play, but Tusin spoke on the headset that he wanted to play, so I just gave it up to him. I don't know if it's the effect of today, the recent patch, and it seemed like, and Kalista is one of those picks that are permaban right now. But what is the thoughts behind that? I think it's one of those things where the supports really help out the Kalista's playstyle, and because of those meta changes with the supports, that Kalista just becomes stronger like that. And one of the surprises in Game 1 was Marin's CS points, where he had around 300 CS at around 23 minutes. I think, there's not much strategies behind it, but he just likes to get CS. So he just goes around all the way across the map trying to get the CS, and he's really hungry to get the farm. So that's one of those things that he's really keen for. And I think Kramer is sometimes the victim of, Marin taking all the CS that he has nothing else left to eat. So I think Kramer had to go with the golems 8 times because he had no CS to take. So Kramer did tell me that he had the goal in the 8th time in that game. And we do have a video highlight of Galio support in game 1 who pulled out a spectacular series of moves. Did you feel that it was a good decision to go with? Yeah, there was a situation where Rakan is one of those champions that has to pull the initiate by getting in the melee range, and having something like Galio really negates most of the opportunities. And I think just in that specific situation that it was a good pick to go with. And we did end up with the first set and moved on with the second set. And we thought that, you know, you guys picked out the support Galio and decided to pick out the mid Galio in game 2. We thought that you guys would easily win out the second game. But they took out the Braum instead. What was the strategy behind that? Yeah, it was just an opportunity that opened up to us that Braum is one of those picks that are always good for most situations. But I felt like the Galio was really disappointing in the mid lane. It wasn't me playing bad. I think it was probably with our ADC. With Kramer, I don't think he should have played Lucian. Did he put any damage in? I don't think if we look at the damage chart, I think we can see that he didn't put any damage in. So it was definitely Kramer's fault, not my fault. Well, I'm sure he picked it out from looking at from the team's composition. And another question that we want to ask is regarding the cannon that Marin picked out. But what was the strategy behind how you guys ended up with the cannon top lane? I don't think we got a specific feedback regarding that specific question. But Cannon is one of those champions that Marin is always comfortable with, so he really likes to pick it out in any kind of situations. And the third game was also significant, starting right off with the ban pick phase that Rocks Tigers actually came up with a Jax top. And was Marin's specifically surprised during that pick? Tusin, have you heard anything? Yeah, it's not just anybody's Jax, but it's Shy's Jax, so it's very nerve-wracking to all of us. But it felt like Marin was really less startled by that pick, so he felt pretty chill about all of that situation. And Kuro, you with the Corki, especially with Corki in the current meta, what is the current tier of Corki in the meta right now? Is it a first tier pick? I'm not sure about if it's first tier, but it's one of those mobile champions that always has very little risk to go with, and CS advantages are always good towards that. But those things are something that you always need in going with the mid lane, and regarding those things, Corki isn't a back pick to go with. And of course it has its strengths and weaknesses as well. And we do have a video highlight of that decisive moment around the Baron where they decided to go for this. Seems like you guys were really sandwiching the opposition, getting Jax here. And the fact that the opposition had the Baron buff, but you guys still won at the team fight was interesting. Yeah, ADC was Kramer was really trying to protect the bot tower, and we had the situation where our fight was gonna break off, so we did a good job of covering up and coming over the backups. And Marin did a spectacular job with the Jarvan, picking out the Orianna in crucial situations. Does he tell you guys that he's gonna make plays like these? Yeah, Marin was constantly telling us to cover for him because he was gonna go for those kind of plays. We thought that, you know, we were gonna go for the Jax, but he went alone for the Orianna and tried to kill it. And you guys do get a 2-1 victory this time around. And I'm sure it's an accomplishment that you guys would like to take home and also lead into the future matches. But what do you think? Yeah, we wanted to get a 2-0 victory, and 2-1 victory is a little bit of disappointment for us, but we will continue to do our best and to get good results for the rest of the season. And that seems to be the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. I especially loved the little blame game that we were playing towards the middle of the interview. Just good to know that the guys are happy to have some banter on the side of the Afreeca Freecs and learning a little bit about that draft strategy as well, Papa Smithy. What did you think?
They all seemed a bit flummoxed is how they ended up with the Lucian 80 carry, but we, as predictably, were flummoxed after a Game 1 where Afreeca Freecs looked once again unparalleled in their Game 1 ability.
Yeah.
Game 2, the draft fell apart, and it was a pretty comfortable victory for the Rox Tigers, but Game 3 was a bit of a war. It seemed like Rox had the better arsenal. They had the split pusher, they had a lot of options in team fights. Their scaling was great, but a couple of lost team fights later, and the Afreeca Freecs pick up the victory, and it's so big because it actually cements them into 5th spot, and now Jin Air will have to win in our second series of the night to keep pace with the Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, that's only going to make things even as well, especially if Jin Air can grab themselves a 2-0, something like that. Interesting statistic, Papa Smithy, is that Afreeca Freecs have now gone win-loss, 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 win. So if they could just lose their next series, it'll continue the pattern, which is very, very important.
Well, everyone knows not to put bets on the Afreeca Freecs. They will always disappoint and enthrall you.
Yep.
Seemingly randomly at times, but speaking of enthralling you, we have an excellent match 54 of the season coming up next.
Yeah, it's going to mean so much as well. Equally as close on the standings as our prior one. And I'm excited to see how KT have gone after Rift Rivals, you know, got a little bit of extra practice against these teams in other regions. And it's not necessarily about skill gap. It's about, you know, what it means as far as bringing the meta home from these really strange sort of internal 4-day tournaments that can just stretch out into all sorts of different picks that we did actually see from the tournament as well.
And just a note for you guys, it'll be about 15-minute break once we get to it. Of course, we're starting after 8 p.m., so just a standard 15-minute break so the players can set up, but it's kind of those two schools of thought. KT, they brought home a victory from Rift Rivals. Jin Air had more time on 7-13, so it's going to be hard to work out.
Yeah, see whether the Jin Air practice is going to work out or whether it's going to be KT taking it over. We'll see you after the break.